Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to another episode of the MylesHighClub podcast. This is episode 6. I am your host, Myles, and I hope you're all doing well. I'm doing fantastic. Thank you for asking. I've got no complaints. Still not made a full week of lockdown part 2 yet, but at the minute, I'm fine. I'm sane, feeling okay. I'm still happy. Hopefully you can all say the same things out there. Today is currently day number 4 of my home workouts. I say day number 4, I haven't done it this morning, but I'm gonna do it later this evening. Day 4 of my home workout. You see, lockdown part 1 was all about building mass. Like, it was done on purpose, and I feel like you should all tell yourselves that as well. So if you were someone that was just sitting down, baking cakes and eating them yourself, sweets, chocolates, any kind of snacks, that was all like the bulk. I think that's what they do in bodybuilding, like they build up the bulk. So lockdown part 1 was all about mass. Lockdown part 2 is all about muscle. Unfortunately, everywhere has sold out of like kettlebells, dumbbells, bars, basically anything that you would use to build muscle has all been sold out. So I'm currently at home with some dumbbells that have the maximum weight of 25 kg, which not actually that bad considering I haven't been gymming such a long time and I've fractured my elbow. I went back to it and I was doing 5 kg and I can feel a little burn in my arm. So I feel like it's going to take me a while to get back up to what I used to be. But there we go. I've got 4 weeks to attempt to try and build some sort of strength. I'd say 4 weeks. Air quotations again for people listening to the podcast until the lockdown stops. So we'll see it when we see it. But speaking of lockdown and speaking of today's whole topic, yes, it's a one topic show. Different things, but it's a one topic show today. And it was all inspired by by lockdown / corona. And forget about all the things you see people talking about when they're talking about Boris or the government or how we're handling it or wearing masks, not wearing masks. I suppose that comes part of it. It's all around the whole COVID conspiracy theories. Now, I don't know about you guys. When I first heard about this was probably the start of the year. I don't remember hearing anything towards the end of last year. It was all the start of the year. And the main reason we heard about it is because I work for Samsung. So because I work for Samsung and I work in the HQ, a lot of people in our headquarters travel everywhere. So I started seeing signs around saying, be cautious where you travel. Then there were more signs saying, don't travel here. Then it became more popular, COVID spread. You all know the story from there. I haven't got to repeat myself. But towards the start of it, I haven't seen it that much. I don't know if it's because I'm not on social media as much as I used to be, but I don't see the COVID conspiracies anymore. But for those sitting there wondering, what are these COVID conspiracies? Where did we start? You had Donald Trump and a lot of other people blaming it on the Chinese. They said it was manufactured in China. To me, that conspiracy theory doesn't tell me anything. Like, who manufactured it in China? Why did they manufacture it in China? It couldn't have been to attack people because Chinese people got coronavirus as well. So it'd been a pretty shitty biological warfare attempt that they made there. But we had that. We had 5G causes corona. That one lasted all of 2 weeks, I think, until all the experts came out and was like, shut up. 5G's been out in other countries for such a long time. And now all of a sudden people are like, it's the phones. It's the phones. It's not the phones. Relax, sit down. Eating bats, apparently because, if you don't know, I don't know if this is a fact or not, I'm just going off what I see in movies, TV shows and documentaries. People in Asia, especially people in China, they eat pretty much anything. Insects, which apparently are full of protein. But also whales, sharks, this might be Japan or China, I'm not sure, but you know the big pufferfish that is an angelfish. The big pufferfish that apparently it's poisonous and you can only eat like 5% of it. I'm getting this bit from The Simpsons now. I'm sure you can only eat like 5% of it and only certain chefs know how to cut it. Basically, they eat anything and everything. So some people try to say because they eat bats, COVID derived from eating bats, and then the vegans jumped on board and was like, cow foot and mouth came from eating cows, and bird flu eating chickens, and there was something to do with Ebola. But apparently eating bats caused COVID. I've never ate a bat in my entire life, so does that make me immune? Can I still get it? Who knows? There's other people that think the whole thing is a lie. Like they think there's nothing going on at all. I think I've already mentioned this once, but if I was to clarify and clear it up, I believe there is a virus. I don't believe it's as bad, as powerful, as strong as they are saying it is. I think, again, like I said, this is my safe space to be unapologetically me. I think it's a really, really strong flu. Like it's a really bad flu. It's a new strain of flu that we're not used to. I think we were told the truth at the start when they said it doesn't affect anyone under the age of like 60. Young people don't have to worry. Anyone over the age of 60 or elderly people, anyone with like a long-term illness or any underlying, whatever that word is, under something conditions. I believe all of that. Everything else, yeah. But yeah, you got the people who think it's all a lie altogether. There's the conspiracy theories. There are people that think COVID was brought in to try and get us used to the New World Order. The New World Order is a whole new thing as well. Well, not a new thing, but it's a whole nother thing. I don't know what they're trying to get us to do. Are they going to close all shops that aren't essential? Like my argument or my grief against some of these theories is they don't make sense, or at least they don't make sense to me. And that's what brought us on to today's topics: conspiracies and conspiracy theories. Now, just to be safe, I don't want the government hacking me or anything. So, you know, as the true conspiracy theorist I am, I have my tinfoil hat. Just got to make sure I stay safe. I don't want like the government using alien technology to take over my brainwaves. So anyone listening to the podcast, yes, I have just put a tinfoil hat on my head. I take this very seriously. So today's topic is all about conspiracy theories. Now, my podcast is usually like an hour long. I'm not going to sit here and talk about just one, but I'm also not going to sit here and do a deep dive into every single conspiracy theory. I would personally tell you all to go and research all these conspiracy theories on your own. Set a good 3-4 hours of spare time. And this is just for one. The things to read, watch all the different videos, watch videos for the conspiracy, watch videos against the conspiracy, watch everything, and then make up your own mind. So, again, if you would say to someone, what's a conspiracy or what's a conspiracy theory? I don't know if everyone would give you the same answer. So I did what I always do. I asked Google. So according to Google, conspiracy is a noun and it's a secret plan by a group to do something unlawful or harmful. And then when they have like a subsection under that. Conspiracy, the action of plotting or conspiring, which, yeah, it's kind of in there. So you got conspiracy theories. Me, I'm a big fan of conspiracy theories. Whether I believe all the conspiracy theories that I come across, that's a completely different thing. But I'm a fan of I don't know, I suppose they can all be harmful in some sort of way, but I'm a fan of conspiracy theories. As crazy, as ridiculous, as stupid as they sound, I do try and do more research on any that I hear. Some of them just don't interest me though. If it's an interesting conspiracy theory, I would definitely go and try and do some research. How long I stay doing the research depends how long I'm interested in, say, the research. But there's a lot of people out there that don't believe conspiracy theories, or as soon as they hear the word conspiracy theory, throw it all away. So I was doing research on a conspiracy theory and I found out that the reason why people don't believe conspiracy theories and what lumps a theory into the conspiracy theory thing is 3 different elements to a conspiracy theory, allegedly. I had to Google this word and I've already forgot it. Unfalsifiability. That basically means conspiracy theories can't be proven or disproven. So again, I agree with this with some of the conspiracy theories. When you think about a conspiracy theory, especially some of the more popular ones, there's nothing out there that your everyday person like myself or you, I'm not saying that you're an everyday person, sorry. But yeah, there's nothing out there that we could do ourselves to either prove said conspiracy theory or disprove that conspiracy theory, which is what that long ass word means. The next one is fallacy, which refers to the multiple fallacies used in conspiracy theories, including ones such as a hasty conclusion or circular reasoning. So hasty conclusion means it's people just jumping to conclusions, and circular reasoning is just when you keep going around and going over the same points over and over again and not making any new points. And the last one is naivety, which I think is the most important part to a conspiracy theory. So naivety refers to the blind faith of believers, including how they tend to believe in conspiracy theories on flimsy evidence, such as suspect eyewitness accounts reported by a source twice removed or more. So that's like an eyewitness account. That's basically aliens. Depending on what you see about aliens, I can see why you wouldn't believe in aliens, but there's also a pattern to the people, especially in America. There's a pattern to the people in America that claim that they have seen or been abducted by aliens, and it's normally always people from like the south or that live out in the rural parts or not away from the big cities. So it's like the aliens know what they're doing. Interesting, that is. So before I jump into what I think are the most popular conspiracy theories and have a little talk about each and every one of them in some sense, the one I wanted to mention first off, which I always find funny, is the conspiracy theory around the word or words or phrase conspiracy theory. So in case you're listening or watching this thinking, Myles, just repeat yourself. No, I haven't. There is a conspiracy theory about the phrase conspiracy theory, which I always think is crazy. So there's the people out there who think the CIA, Central Intelligence Agency, I think, should have Googled that as well. Yeah, but there's people out there that think the CIA, which is like an American government branch, they are the people that invented the term conspiracy theory or brought it to its modern popular meaning that it is now. So again, I did my research. It's all going to be in layman's term. Don't expect me to do any deep diving. Like I said, with a conspiracy theory, if I deep dive, I'm going to be here. I should have just gone live and just started recording. And then you lot will just have to watch me for 24 hours go on about all of these conspiracy theories. So the conspiracy theory claims that the CIA invented the term in 1967 to disqualify those who question the official version of the John F. Kennedy assassination. So most of you, if you don't know who JFK is or don't know about the JFK assassination, where have you been? You don't even need to be tied into American culture that is pop culture. JFK was assassinated. Abe Lincoln was assassinated. There are more presidents that have been assassinated, but those two, I believe, are the biggest two. So there's two extreme versions, there's two versions of it. The first version of this theory, which they call the extreme version, is people literally think that the CIA invented the word or the phrase conspiracy theory. The word conspiracy, it was always a word. The word theory was always a word. This puts in that before, obviously the late 60s, you never heard the term conspiracy theory. So they say CIA just made that up or put those two words together in order to debunk anyone that questions the assassination of JFK. And then the other one claims that they knew the term existed before, but they claim the CIA intentionally created the negative connotations so that it turned the label of tool into political propaganda, which basically means that second part is they're trying to say that the CIA knew about the term conspiracy theory, but they basically attached a bunch of negative connotations connotations, that's the right word, and negative connotations to the word conspiracy theory, so that whenever you hear the word conspiracy theory, you take a negative look on it, which, whether or not that bit of the conspiracy that the CIA invented it is true, conspiracy theory definitely has negative connotations attached to it. And just think, I forgot this hat makes noises now. Just think about movies, TV shows, or your real life. If someone ever tells a crazy, again, I'm doing air quotes for the podcast listeners. If anyone ever tells like a crazy or a wacky story or a story that is so hard to believe, and that story just happens to be a theory about something that someone can't grasp, they will usually say, oh, that's just a conspiracy theory. So to me, I personally think a lot of people hear conspiracy theory and they just think conspiracy theory means it's a lie or it's made up. I think certain people don't believe any conspiracy theories. I don't think any truth to conspiracy theories, which is, if you ever spoke to someone about conspiracy theories, or when someone says it's a conspiracy theory, people tend to go negative straight away. And it's just because the words conspiracy theory for so long has had negative connotations on it, no one would take it seriously. Just like if I went on the news, let's say I went on the news tomorrow and I said, I've got a conspiracy theory, or I wanted to go on the news and I said I have a conspiracy theory. One, as soon as they hear conspiracy, they're not going to have any of it. Two, if you were to put that as a line, it's only people that wear tinfoil hats that are probably going to click on it to try and see what you're on about. Most people would click past it and think I haven't got time for these conspiracy theories. So I'm someone that loves conspiracy theories. Like I said, I've read and researched so many. I've researched some, I couldn't even tell you what the names are, but as soon as you start talking about it, I would know exactly what it is you're talking about. So I went onto a website that I used to use all the time when I worked in an office, but for some strange reason, this website wasn't working, so I'm not going to shout them out. So I literally just Googled popular conspiracy theories or 10 most popular conspiracy theories, and I got a website called top10unknown.com. Check it out if you want. It's not my website, it's just a website on there. So I've literally pulled up 10 of what they are claiming to be the most popular conspiracy theories. Let's just run through the 10 most popular conspiracy theories. I'll read out what the conspiracy theory is. I'll let you know if I've heard about it, if I've done research on it, whether I believe it or not. Make sure you comment down below and let me know if you believe them or not. Or like, give me like a rating out of 10 of how much you believe. I don't know if these are in any particular order. I've looked through them already and I don't think they're in any particular order. Purely because the number one popular conspiracy theory that you're probably all thinking of as soon as I said conspiracy theory isn't number one. So here we go. So number 10, they've got it written as Lee Harvey Oswald didn't act alone. If you don't know who Lee Harvey Oswald is, you probably wouldn't if you didn't know the JFK thing earlier, but Lee Harvey Oswald is basically the person who the government says is responsible for the JFK assassination. So let me read what they've said. So they've got Kennedy was shot while riding in a presidential motorcade with his wife in Dallas, which you can actually find on YouTube. If you type in JFK assassination on YouTube, you can actually see it was like a parade and he's in a top-down car. I think his wife's behind him and he's in the front, and then you just see him sort of slump. But yeah, Lee Harvey Oswald was fingered as the gunman in the Texas school book depository that day, but he was shot and killed just 2 days later, which created a great deal of suspicion. Also, witnesses claim they heard shots coming from the grassy knoll near the motorcade, creating the mystery of a second shooter. The CIA, the Mafia, Fidel Castro, and Lyndon Johnson are often listed as the masterminds behind the murder cover-up. So, a lot to go through. So JFK, 1963, JFK was the president of the United States of America. He was riding in a motorcade with his wife, which is basically, it's like his car, and then are they all behind? I think in the video, I think all the police cars are behind him, but there's like 2 or 3 police cars behind him. He's driving and he gets shot, slumps over, shot once, I believe. I think it's once or twice. Once, I'm sure he gets shot, slumps over. And then, as it says, this person, Lee Harvey Oswald, gets arrested. But then suspiciously, when it doesn't tell me here, I need to try and remember, he's either in court, no, he's either in like the police station, or he's doing like a press conference, or he's in court, something like that. But he's basically around and some guy just walks upon him point blank range and shoots him straight in the face. I'm sure it's the face, but he basically gets killed. So 2 days after he allegedly killed the president, he gets killed, which means you can't take him in for questioning. You can't take him in for questioning, so you can't basically ask him where he was, ask him if he's got an alibi, ask him what he's doing. There's no way of questioning this guy. He's just been axed, which again is very suspicious. The president gets killed, and the person that killed the president is then killed 2 days later. And he's not killed by like police or by the army or by the government. Well, you know what I mean by not by the government. It wasn't like we're going to kill him for killing our president. It was basically he killed our president, we're going to arrest him, blah, 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 blah. And then he's killed. So then, what else does it say? The grassy knolls near the motorcade. Now, I only know this bit because, one, I've watched multiple theories on it. And if you've watched season 2 of The Umbrella Academy, I don't know what episode it is, but they do the JFK assassination there. And you see like the grassy knolls. And I've also watched a program called Timeless, which is on Netflix, season 1. So basically, how it happens is, let's say the road is, you're looking at me. They try to say, I'm sure the shooter is where you guys are. So the car's coming down the road this way. I think they try and say the shooter's like to the front, to the right of him, whereas the grassy knolls are to the left. Yeah, so it's in 2 different places. So there's a few conspiracy theories. There's conspiracy theories that Lee Harvey Oswald did do it, but he wasn't alone. So there was 2 shooters, so him there and him there. There are other conspiracy theories that say it was his security people that shot him. It was his wife that shot him, because they're saying like he's in the car. I think he gets shot twice, actually. I think he gets hit once and then he throws his head back another time. But there's also the conspiracy theories from the way the bullet hit him, the way his body slumped, the exit holes, the fact that he's the president. There's also conspiracy theories along, so the CIA wanting to get him killed. I'm sure JFK was, is it Marilyn Monroe? I'm sure he was doing something with Marilyn Monroe. I think him and his brother had an affair with Marilyn Monroe. Or I think JFK may have had an affair with Marilyn Monroe and may have told her certain state secrets, or the fact that he was having an affair with this woman. That was all a whole other problem. The issue with the mafia, he was the president. He did a lot of things that went against the mafia, so they thought he got him killed. Fidel Castro is, damn, what is he? He's the president. He was someone big in Cuba, and I'm sure he was the real reason that America cut all ties with Cuba. So again, there was a lot of tension in the 60s between Cuba and America as to why he did it. So yeah, Lee Harvey Oswald, that is a good one. Personally, I think it's a really good conspiracy theory to get yourself into. This been done so many times now, you'll find plenty of videos on it. For me, I give this one a 9 out of 10. A 9 out of 10 I don't believe that this Lee Harvey Oswald is, no, I do. I believe there's a cover-up. I don't believe that Lee Harvey Oswald acted alone in shooting the president. One, I'm sure there's no reason, they have no reason for why he wanted to shoot the president. It's weird. I definitely believe there was something behind it, whether it was two shooters, whether Lee Harvey Oswald was paid to do this and then to clean up any ties, they whacked him, which to me makes the most sense. But yeah, Lee Harvey Oswald, so if you want to check that one out, JFK assassination, that is one of the most popular ones. Another popular one for us Brits at home, number 9 is Princess Diana was killed on purpose. So we'll go through this. When the People's Princess was killed in a car crash resulting from overzealous paparazzi in Paris, the public demanded answers. It was hard for them to believe that such a compassionate, celebrated figure could die so senselessly, so it didn't take long for the theories to surface about why certain people in power would want her dead. Some people think she was pregnant and was planning to marry her boyfriend, son to the owner of Harrods, and was planning to convert and be Muslim, which might have worried the British royal family, given her influence on the people. Others state that the family wanted her out of the way so people would support Prince Charles's remarriage. There are optimists who believe she faked her death to escape public eye. Again, I've done so much research on this. When you do research on this, what you'll find out is, from what I can remember, is Princess Diana and her boyfriend at the time were in Paris. They were driving, being chased down by paparazzi. They enter a tunnel. Now, I don't know why, but this tunnel is empty. So everyone says this tunnel is empty. The car goes in, and then is it a bike or another? It's either a bike or another car either goes in after them or is coming the opposite way. People reported hearing a bang. People reported seeing a flash, and then another vehicle leaving the tunnel but not stopping and just moving. So everyone thinks it was assassination. Listen, this one is very suspect. As soon as you do research into it, you'll find it's very suspect. But let's have a look at what they said. So she was pregnant. So you can imagine the princess, the queen, no, the Prince Charles, the Queen's son, so the Queen, the royal family of England, her son gets splits up with his girlfriend. He gets with Camilla, I think, which no one liked. As you know, Princess Diana's moved on. 1, she's got a new boyfriend who she wants to marry. 2, she's pregnant. And 3, because her boyfriend is of Muslim faith, the conspiracy theory is that the royal family thought she's pregnant, she's with him, they're gonna get married. If she converts to Muslim, she has such a big influence. They thought because Princess Diana had, and people are probably laughing at this now thinking, the British loving someone Muslim. Listen, if you're Muslim, I have nothing against you, even though I'm British. But I can understand why people would find that hilarious. But yeah, they reckon because Princess Diana was so loved, like she's loved to this day, like you can't say anything bad about Diana at all, but she is so loved and she was so influential that they basically think something terrible would have happened to the British public or with the British public by Princess Diana turning Muslim. This conspiracy theory, slightly racist-ish, but the conspiracy theory is the British family or the royal family got Diana killed because her Muslim boyfriend got her pregnant. She may have converted to Muslim, which would have had I don't know what they think, half of Britain would have converted to Muslim, stopped going to church, converted to Islam, not converted to Muslim. I sound like one of these arrogant idiots now. So that's what, another conspiracy theory that's part of it, which they mention here, is that because everyone loved Diana so much, Prince Charles wanted to remarry to, I'm sure it's Camilla. I don't know much about the royal family, but I know this. I'm sure it's Camilla. But people really didn't like Camilla because of how much they love Diana. So people think, okay, if we kill Diana, get Diana out the way, everyone will love Camilla. I still think she's still not that liked today at all. All that did killing Diana was become a martyr. But do you research on the Princess Diana death? Because there's something to do with the body as well. Like, I'm sure when they pulled the body out the car, it got cremated really quickly. Something happened with the body really quick from death. I don't think there was any medical examinations done. There was nothing to do with the body. I think the body was just taken, given to people, burnt. So you could not find out what happened to the actual body, which is such a shame, especially if there was a baby involved. But some people do not care. And this is one of the conspiracy theories that when people hear it is why they think so negatively of conspiracy theories. Because some people genuinely believe that the royal family or the government or that no one out there would kill someone or kill a pregnant woman just so someone else could remarry, or just because she was wanting to convert religion. But there are so many true stories, which I might look up for next week, like all the horror true stories of things that have come true, of what governments and people have done to keep things quiet. It's crazy. So there you go. What would I rate this one? Diana was killed on purpose. I'll give it an 8 out of 10. I'll give that one an 8 out of 10. So yeah, JFK assassination, 9 out of 10. Diana killed on purpose, 8 out of 10. Oh, next one. Number 8, AIDS is a man-made disease. So those in the scientific community generally believe HIV originated from a strain of simian immunodeficiency virus found in Western African monkeys. But when a group of 500 African Americans was surveyed in 2005, study published in the Journal of Acquired Immune Deficiency Syndrome, over half of them said that AIDS was created by the government. Conspiracy theories about why the government might have created the virus range from population control to the weakening of racial minority groups and gay people. Some also say that there's a cure for AIDS is being held back by the government for similar reasons. This one gets me so mad. The fact that they always try. There was a documentary on Netflix. It's still, I think it's like called something like Explained. I'm going to find it and post it on my Instagram, so I can't think off the top of my head what it is about now. I might try and look at it on here while I'm talking. But there was a Netflix documentary that was talking about different stuff, and they had like a 20-minute episode on AIDS, and they basically tried to say that AIDS had started in Africa. Like, the documentary was that bad that the documentary is still up. I think I found it. The documentary is still up, but they've removed the AIDS episode. And it's basically because they did like a whole map of trying to say that it started in the Congo or somewhere, and then they traveled, and then when they got picked up from the Congo and taken to the Caribbean, and then it just spread from Haiti, which is, hold on a minute, History 101. So go on Netflix, it's called History 101, and they've removed the program which said that AIDS originated in Africa/Haiti. I think they say that AIDS originated in Africa but was spread from Haiti. Now, let's get back to my page. I've heard this one before. I think if you like, I'm a big fan of Dave Chappelle, the comedian. So he did a he did a comedy sketch about them trying to say that AIDS came from monkeys, which meant someone would have had to have had sex with a monkey. Do you know how strong monkeys are? I'm not going to take Dave Chappelle's joke. Go and find it yourself. But yeah, so when we think about it, they try and say that there's two big conspiracy theories about AIDS. AIDS, I think, is man-made. One, the first thing is they try and say it was, like they said here, it was African monkeys. So now you need to work out because AIDS is passed through the blood, I think, even though it can be passed through sex. I don't know. Saliva maybe. But that means either you would have had to, it means human blood would have been contaminated by monkey blood. How that would have happened back then, I don't know. You would have even had to have been attacked by monkeys. You would have had to attack monkeys, eat monkeys, maybe have sex with monkeys, like a lot of people claim. I know the one racist conspiracy theory is that Africans used to sleep with monkeys and that's how we got AIDS. Which means you then need to ask yourself, if that was true, why has the rest of the world got AIDS? Ask yourself that. Another theory is that, what else did they say? Another theory is that when white people went to Africa, when the Europeans, I won't blame all white people, when the Europeans, the Portuguese and the Spanish and the Italians and the British and the Dutch and all the other racist bastard countries out there, when they all went to Africa to colonize it and to take people, they were raping the slaves. It's simple as that. As much as it sounds weird, because like, oh, they hated black people and they wanted to use them as slaves, you also need to imagine that it was a boat full of horny men going to Africa to take other men and women, seen the women and probably were like, oh, we can't get it anywhere else. Raped a bunch of them, they brought AIDS home and then spread it. The gay community, I don't know. I remember being a kid, I'll be open and honest with everyone, I remember being a kid, I used to think the only way you could get AIDS was through bum sex, as I used to call it, or gay sex. I generally thought HIV/AIDS was only a disease that gay people got through sex, purely because of media and how it spread. I know that is not true, so let me say that now. I know AIDS isn't created by gay people, nor is it created by Africans or African monkeys. I 10 out of 10 believe that this one was human, man-made, and the reasons why they use it makes sense. You've got to think, this is back in what? AIDS blew up in, I think it blew up big in the 80s, but I think it was around in like the 50s, 60s. So a very racial, it's a fucking racial time now. But this is when everything was overtly racist and overtly homophobic. Like, there weren't black people, there weren't a lot of black or gay people in the media or in places of power. So the cleansing of racial minority groups. I don't know if I've got a conspiracy theory in my honourable mentions that talks about the different things that governments would have done to cleanse minority groups. So can I imagine them somehow getting this to the minority groups? Yes. A lot of people are thinking, well, how would they give AIDS to just the minority groups? Look at things like government cheese. Government cheese in America was given out to all the low income areas free of charge. They would just give them cheese free of charge to low income areas, predominantly people of colour. And gay people, again, I'm not gay and I haven't done too much research into the whole AIDS gay conspiracy. It's how they would have man-made it and then got it into gay people. In my head, probably rape. Just go out, go find a few gay people, rape them all, just go get a few gay people and inject them with some. You hear stories about that all the time. People getting kidnapped and injected with stuff and then sent back out into the gay community. So I can imagine that's how it happens as well. I'm a big fan of RuPaul's Drag Race, and every season of RuPaul's Drag Race, you always see one of those queens talking about how they've lost a friend or multiple friends to HIV and how scary it is. So yeah, I can imagine it's not nice when people are running around saying it's the gay disease or something stupid like that. AIDS is man-made, 10 out of 10, I completely believe that one. Next, this is what I personally think should be the #1 popular conspiracy theory, but this website has it down as #7, and that is the government was involved in 9/11. So do I even need to read this? Most state that the Bush administration had previous knowledge of the attacks and didn't act, or that it orchestrated the entire thing. Both versions center on the belief that Bush and company wanted to gain more power quickly and get the support of the people. It has been said that the World Trade Center towers came down as a result of planted explosives, that a plane didn't crash into the Pentagon, and that Flight 93 was crashed in Pennsylvania because it was shot down. And that's a theory that was only fueled when Donald Rumsfeld accidentally said during a 2004 speech that terrorists shot it down. So yes, 9/11, tragic events in 9/11. Plane hits one of the World Trading Towers, goes down. A few minutes later, a second plane hits one of the World Trading Towers. Now, again, pre-9/11, I don't remember too much of airports, but I know airport security was nowhere near as strict as it was now. It was very lax. You could walk around. You could smoke on planes. I don't know when that stopped. But do you guys not think it's crazy that you could smoke on planes? When I speak to older people, they always tell me like it used to be towards the back of the plane and it would just be blocked off with a curtain, and then that's where all the smokers would sit. Because it always confused me when I got on a plane why it says no smoking. Because to me it's common sense. You can't smoke indoors, but there you go. So they say the government is involved. This conspiracy theory, I'm not going to spend too long on it because it's the most popular ones. There's the ones that say, although, yes, you physically see planes crash into the towers, they say the planes didn't cause the explosion. There are videos that show the plane hits in the top, but the explosions come from the bottom. There are videos that show the way the explosions go off. It's like a demolition, so there's a pattern to it. Because the plane hit the buildings and the buildings don't like fall over or tilt, they sort of get hit and then fall down like a demolition. So people say it was a controlled demolition. There's also theories that when you watch the videos of the planes, that they're not passenger airlines, they're jets. So like they're like private jets or all sorts of things like this. What other ones are there? People are probably screaming at me on the computer going, like, Myles, what about that one? I'm literally trying to think. What else? People say that the planes were jets. It was a controlled demolition. Oh, the insurance. Is this the one with the insurance? I'm sure, I need to remember that, but there was insurance that I'm sure whoever owned the World Trade Company took out like insurance on his building like a week or 2 weeks before it happened. And then the day after, there was supposedly meant to be like a big budget meeting, and then someone was in debt, and then 9/11 happened, a bunch of insurance money gets paid out. And again, you're probably thinking you wouldn't kill thousands of people over money. You do not know the government if that's what you guys really and honestly truly think. Yes, they would. You've also got them saying about the Bush administration wanting to gain more power quickly. It works. The same thing with COVID. Some people think that COVID has been brought, some people think that they brought out COVID so that it would either mess up the elections or it would strengthen one person more than it has the other. If you follow the elections, the way Trump handled COVID in America is probably one of the reasons that he lost the election recently. Woo! Won't talk about that too much, but if we just forget about politics of both men, he was a piece of shit. Like all his views. I mean, anyone that's an immigrant or has immigrants in their family worldwide can see it as a victory. Anyone of color can see it's a victory. Mexican people, anyone from those shithole countries in Africa would see it as a victory. Anyone who is gay or part of the LGBTQ plus community. There are so many people that this man has offended. It's unreal, and he's a disease, and he's gone, and so was Bush, and he's gone as well. But anyway, back to 9/11. Go and do your research. 10 out of 10. Government was involved in 9/11. I'm not going to spend too much time on it, like I said, because it's one of the most popular ones. Moving on to number 6. I feel like this is one I've heard of, but never done too much research in, which is Elvis and never really left the building. So many people believe, I don't know when this article was done, I should have researched that, but many people believe that Elvis is still alive and kicking. There have been numerous Elvis sightings throughout the years, and people point out his incorrect gravestone. It says his middle name is Aaron, but it's spelled, it says his middle name is spelled Aaron with 2 A's, but it's spelled Aaron with 1 A on his birth certificate. And a key piece, which is a key piece that his death is a fraud, apparently. And the reason for the fake death varies between him wanting to get away from the public to him being put under witness protection by the FBI for being a drug informant. A rumor started by him meeting with Nixon in 1970 and telling him that he wanted to help eradicate drug abuse as well. Bear me a second. Sorry if I'm stopped. I'm recording this while my daughter's asleep, and I've currently got her on the baby monitor on my phone. She's not moving, but she's making noises, which means, no, she's moving. She might be waking up. I think she's gone back to sleep. We'll see. I don't know what to say with that one. I don't care for Elvis. Again, people are going to think I'm like a Black Panther. I'm a militant black guy. I'm not, but if you know your history, you'll know that Elvis is a fuckboy who didn't invent rock and roll. He basically saw what black people were doing in rock and roll. Think about how racist the time was back when Elvis was alive. Black people were doing rock and roll and white people were doing rock and roll. But it was known to be created or started or heavily influenced by black people. But again, people didn't like black people, so Elvis ended up basically doing what black people were doing in rock and roll, took it for his own. To start with, people didn't like Elvis or his music purely because it's what they associated with what black people were doing. But eventually he took over, became the biggest thing. Go and YouTube it, go and Google it. I'm not making it up. There are plenty of people out there that will say these things about Elvis. So moving. Oh, or maybe this one, number 5, might be the number 1 conspiracy theory before 9/11. It might be, and that is that the 1969 Apollo moon landing didn't happen. Listen, the fake moon landing theory has been mostly debunked apparently, but there are still a few advert followers that believe in it. There are pictures and videos, the missing design blueprints, faulty recordings as evidence as forgery. One of the most popular reasons for faking the moonwalk is that the Kennedy administration wanted to win the space race against the Soviet Union and instill public faith in NASA. However, most Americans still believe Buzz Aldrin and Neil Armstrong walked on the moon that day. So the same, people still believe, people do believe it happened. The moon landing is probably the one, I'm going to give it a 5 out of 10. It's the one I'm a bit 50-50 on. On one side of things, yes, there was a space, it was during or before the Cold War. I think it's during the Cold War, which basically meant everyone was at war, but they weren't physically fighting. It was a race between America and Russia. It was the first one to get into space. I think it was a big thing because as soon as you can get into space, it meant you could put a satellite in space. If you could put a satellite in space, that meant you could then spy on the other country and get all the information that you needed on that country, and there'd be nothing they could do about it. So there was a massive space race to it. Russia were the first to the moon. Russia actually were the first to get a satellite or to get like a machine or something onto the moon. The Americans were the first people to put a person on the moon. So that's a big difference there. That always gets confused. So all you have to do is watch any movie, any TV show to do with America, and anytime there's a Russian in there, the Russians are always the bad guys. It's always America versus Russia. There's normally always a reference to the Cold War and the space thing. So I can see why people believe that. If you watch the image of one of them walking on the moon, it looks funny. But then the other half of me is like, I've never been on the moon and I've never seen anyone else on the moon to know what it would look like in zero gravity. Yes, there's people that have built zero gravity machines and zero gravity rooms to try and mimic it. There's also a video or picture where apparently you can see a string that apparently they're pulling them up. So the Apollo moon landing, there is a lot behind the Apollo moon landing. If you watch Transformers, they're hiding Transformers on there. If you've watched Kong, Americans basically did the space race to beat the Russians so that they could map out an island and find monsters. There's so many different movies that have all come off, whether the moon landing happened or not. I'm 50-50. I'm neither more for it or more against it. I'm just one of these people that's just like, who knows? Number 4, a UFO crashed in Roswell, New Mexico. Probably one of the most famous things when it comes to aliens. If you ever hear about, when you think about aliens, you normally think about Area 51 and Roswell. So when a ranch manager came across crashed debris near his property in 1947, he didn't know what to make of it and alerted local authorities. The same day, the Roswell Army Airfield sent out a press release stated a flying disc was found. Later, this was retracted by the US military. Later, this was retracted and the US military told the public it was fallen out of a weather balloon. So the slip up made a huge conspiracy theory about the government attempting to cover up evidence of a UFO and alien existence. Some even say there were alien bodies found in the crash. Now the story is that the balloon was part of Project Mogul, the government's attempt to pick up on Soviet nuclear tests. As a result, Roswell has become a big tourist spot for extraterrestrial enthusiasts. That was pretty simple. Again, before we start, the word UFO is so misleading because UFO stands for unidentified flying object, which means if I built something in my garden of a weird shape and flew it through the air and people didn't know what it was, that's classed as a UFO because it's an unidentified flying object. So there's that. But again, so the army put out a press statement saying a flying disc was found. Again, back then in, when did I say it was? The 40s? Yeah, the 40s. So back then you can imagine what planes look like. They've never seen any kind of futuristic plane. So a disc is very strange. What makes it even worse is they then retracted that statement and was like, oh, no. It's a piece fallen off our weather balloon. Which they then later went on to say was something that we're using to spy on the Soviets. Again, back then in America, if anything happened and you just said Russia, you're 9 times out of 10 going to get the public to believe you because the public was scared of Russia. So instead of saying it was a UFO, they were like, no, that's part of our weather balloon. Okay, it was a top secret mission to spy on Russia to make sure we know what they're doing. And the public feel a bit better about themselves, which again is a very similar with Area 51. The government came out, denied Area 51 at first, then came out and said it's where they test their top secret military planes. It's also where they apparently designed their plane with a reflective bottom that could fly. It could fly over a certain height so that it couldn't be picked up by Russia's radar. However, when they flew it over there, it was picked up by Russia's radar and shot down. So things like that. The conspiracy theory here is all about the UFO crash in Roswell, which, believe it or not, the bigger conspiracy is, do you believe in aliens? Me personally, yes. I don't judge people, but I think you are fucking stupid if you think we live in this whole big universe and it's just us. The fact that you've got humans that are all different colors is one. The fact that you have humans and animals, the fact that all these animals look different, the fact that you have about 500 breeds of dogs, and I think jellyfish, I know I've just gone from one to another, jellyfish are alien. Jellyfish are the weirdest things that we have on this planet. My theory, alien crash landed, mutated, turned into octopus. But he's an octopus. Or a jellyfish. I said jellyfish, didn't I? I don't know which one I said, but both of them are alien. Octopuses and jellyfish, both of those things are fucking alien. Do I think a UFO crashed in Roswell? I don't see why not. I really don't see why not, but I do believe in aliens. For me, I believe in aliens. Do I believe we've ever made contact with aliens? That's another thing. I have theories about like shooting stars or different things like that, so I'll leave that there, but I'll let you guys make your mind up on a UFO crash in Roswell. But yeah, as soon as you go to research aliens, you're going to go down the biggest wormhole ever. Such a fun thing. This one caught me off guard. I don't think I've ever heard, or I've definitely not researched this one. I'm not too sure if I've ever heard this one before, but it's Shakespeare didn't write all of those plays. So the most famous playwright in the world may not have existed at all. Conspiracy theories have been debating Shakespeare's life for years, arguing that William Shakespeare was just a pen name used by a group of writers, which might explain why his signature varied throughout his career. Just a note on that, my signature has varied. I could sign 3 things in 1 week and my signature is going to vary from all 3 of those things, so I don't know about that one. Others think he did exist, but he was simply a figure for another person to write plays through, such as, and then it lists a bunch of people. The main argument against Shakespeare is the fact that he was uneducated, which seems rather elitist. Regardless, this theory still generates a lot of interest, ranking 5th in Google's conspiracy theory searches. Maybe that's what I should have searched. I should have Googled the most searched conspiracy theories, because I've never thought about this one. But Shakespeare didn't write all those plays. I literally have 0 investment or interest in this conspiracy theory. To me personally, I would say who gives a shit if Shakespeare wrote them. But considering England and probably the majority of the world's literature has been based on either one piece or all pieces of work done by Shakespeare, I can imagine it would be a big thing. Would it change the fact? Does who writ any of those Shakespeare plays change the fact of what's in them? Like Romeo and Juliet, it's not based on Shakespeare's life. He's not Romeo, so would it really matter if you found out that it wasn't Shakespeare that wrote all those plays? It would make more sense if the only way I can see it happening is like a poor person or someone who wasn't classed as royalty was a really good writer. A rich person found out, was like, I want you to write these for me. I'm going to take all the claim for it, but for that, I'll buy you a nice little barn for you and your family to live in. I'll give you 4 sheep and 5 cows and a handful of chickens. Who knows? Again, like I said, I don't care about that one. So if you do care, or if you know why I should care, like I said, drop a comment and let me know why I should care, what it would mean for the world of literature. If it turns out Shakespeare didn't write any of those plays and it's all a farce, does that nullify my GCSE that I got in English literature? I got a C. Do I automatically get bumped up? And does it even matter? Because every job I applied for, I'm not even too sure what GCSEs I told them I got. So, surprise! But I did a good job, and I do a good job. So, GCSEs versus who you know / what you know. It's a question for another day. Oh, here we go. Global warming is a hoax. I mean, let me just explain why people think this. So, supporters of this theory believe it's due to technology created by those in charge for a variety of reasons, keeping the public in a state of panic to maintain control, and decreasing world population being 2 of the main ones. So, I don't get it. I don't get why you'd think global warming is a hoax, but there's also a lot of things out there that I don't understand why people would say things like that. So global warming is a hoax. Let's have a look at the reasons why they said to maintain control. I don't see how saying global warming, because like when you think about let's think about what they say. Global warming, don't litter. You're effing up our planet. You're killing the fish. You're killing the environment. Listen to me, it makes perfect sense, don't litter. Stop cutting down trees. Trees help build the ozone layer. Again, I got a B in science, but that was over 10 years ago. No, was it over? It was 10 years ago, so. But yeah, trees, trees give out oxygen, which is something we need, but also there's something to do with the trees. They take in carbon dioxide, which bad for the atmosphere. They also, something to do with trees and the ozone layer, and the more trees we cut, the thinner the ozone layer is, which means more heat comes through and we're all going to get burnt to a scorched. Stop chopping down trees, use hemp to make paper and stuff. Again, that makes sense to me. Population control is the one I didn't get. I don't know how you're going to maintain population by telling people to not litter and to stop cutting down trees and to not use plastic. Again, if you're someone that does believe global warming is a hoax, please let me know why and point me to any evidence. After this, I might go and do some research on global warming to see why people think it's a hoax. That is a strange one. I definitely believe people think that global warming is fake, and I believe that, like, I'm sure Donald Trump, speak about him quite a lot, I'm sure he said that global warming was a hoax and it's fake and it's fake news and all stuff like that. But no, global warming seems very real. All you've got to do, not even pause this, when this is finished, go and speak to your mom, dad, uncle, auntie, grandparents, anyone above the age of, I would say, like 40. Ask them what their winters used to be like and what their summers used to be like. They would tell you their summers used to be hot and their winters used to be cold, full of snow. I'm sure everyone here at some point in their life has had the conversation with an elderly family member talking about how back in their day, when it snowed, you couldn't open your front door and it was 4 foot something and you had to jump out the window and school was still open and you had to tie tennis rackets to your feet to make it to school and blah, blah, blah. So our parents can go on about what they used to do back in the day. Then again, I feel the same way. When I talk to my nephews sometimes, I'm like, back in my day, I used to have to get my finger, stick it in the videotape and twist it all the way back to restart it and you can just scroll. But yeah, global warming is a hoax. I don't believe so. I think global warming is very real. I'm very good environmentally now. My carbon footprint must be getting lower and lower. I used to Hail Mary litter. Doesn't matter where I was. I used to be one of those people that would try and throw litter in the bin, and if I missed, then I missed. Car window down, straight out on the country roads. Nope, no, that has stopped for at least 5 years now, I'd say. For at least 5 years, I've made a conscious effort to not litter, to always sort my recycling out at home, or even when I'm out. You know, when you got the bins with the 2 holes, I will specifically be like, this plastic, recycle that. So I do my job now because I love the environment. And even though if the world is going to end, I don't believe it's going to end while I'm alive. I have a daughter and I want grandkids, so I want them to live in a nice, happy, beautiful looking world, and not something that looks like it's on the Scorch Trials in Maze Runner. And number 1, I'm just checking the time, there we go. Number 1, reptilian humanoids control all of us. Now, depending on how big into the conspiracy theory world you are, this actually might be the number 1 popular conspiracy theory, which is reptilian humanoids, lizard people. I'm sure you've heard of it before. So apparently it was all started by a 1999 book written by David Icke called The Biggest Secret, the book that will change the world. In it, he explains that most world leaders, including quite a few US presidents, are actually shape-shifting reptilian beings from a different planet who start wars and are responsible for the horrific events like 9/11 in order to promote fear and hatred, which gives them strength. Oh, and they're 7 feet tall reptilian. As silly as that can sound, there is something to be said about learning about the conspiracy theory. They can offer a totally new expensive... Okay, there's no information on that. He was just talking about stuff. So yeah, lizard people. I've heard this one plenty of times, and spoilers, right, if you haven't seen Umbrella Academy, or if you're watching season 2 and haven't got to, I think it's episode 8 or near the end of it yet, spoiler warning, so like skip ahead like 50 seconds. But lizard people, I'm sure, is where they're going in Umbrella Academy. I haven't read the comics to Umbrella Academy, so I don't know, but if you've seen Umbrella Academy, you know exactly what I'm on about when he pulls and you see that in the room, and then I don't want to spoil it in case people are still watching there. But yeah, I've seen this one before. They say that all the world leaders and most of the really popular, famous people are all lizard people. If you've never heard of the lizard people theory, my best way of explaining it is take the Illuminati theory that you know. Think about what they say about the Illuminati, about the people. It's always the celebrities, the higher-ups, the rich people, the world leaders. Take their plan, world domination. Just apply all that to lizard people. If anything, if you look at the right conspiracy theory, they'll probably tell you that the Illuminati is ran by the lizard people. It's one of them ones where my imagination isn't that strong, so my brain can't comprehend Lizard people? You probably sat there thinking, what? So you can comprehend aliens, but you can't comprehend lizard people. What about if the lizard people are aliens? Like the Kree in Avengers? Possibly. Who knows? Because it's so wacky, and because the lizard people conspiracy theory is usually attached to the quote unquote crazy conspiracy theorists, the tinfoil hat wearing people. I think that's why I disbelieve it so much. I feel like the negative connotations around conspiracy theory work for me when it comes to reptilian humanoids. I don't believe in lizard people. I just believe all the people that are running the world are just evil bastards, selfish evil bastards that are just power hungry, and they realize that they've created a world where there's no such thing as power, but there is such thing as money. Let me go turn my alarm off. Yeah, that is 2 weeks in a row now. You can probably guess that I've been filming around the same sort of times, but it's an alarm to remind me not to forget. So, right, sorry. Yeah, lizard people. I don't know. I do not know. But that was some of the 10 most popular conspiracy theories. If I have missed off your favorite conspiracy theory, drop it in the comments. Make sure you read the comments so you can get plenty of information on what conspiracy theories you should go and do your research on. I did mention at the start, I do have an honourable mention list. So these are the honourable mentions. So after I saw the 10 popular conspiracy theories, I did an honourable mention of just some of the conspiracy theories. These are the ones I could remember off the top of my head. So Tupac isn't dead. They think Tupac faked his own death and moved to Cuba. But my issue with this one is, to fake his own death, I feel like he needed a lot of government help. I don't know why the government would try and help someone like Tupac. That led me on to who killed Biggie and Tupac. To me, it's a conspiracy. If you're a hip-hop head, you've probably seen the answers. Some people think that Diddy got Tupac killed. Some people think that Suge got Biggie killed. Some people think that Suge Knight got Tupac killed. Some people think it was the police. There was an ex-policeman who made his own book and released something, and he apparently said that Diddy offered a Crip $1 million to get him killed. There's a Crip that came out in jail and was like, I killed Tupac. Diddy paid me $1 million. There's so many conspiracies around it all. The crazy thing is, Tupac got killed on the Las Vegas Strip outside of a Mike Tyson fight, and no one knows who did it, or there's no CCTV footage of it, which I think is crazy. Fun fact, I shouldn't say fun, but fact, before Tupac gets killed, he was having a conversation with Marlon Wayans. Yep. There's also a video, there's a video of Tupac and his gang beating the brakes off someone in the casino, and they think that he was then the person that made a phone call, said, yeah, I just got jumped by Tupac. They came, lit him up, move. Honourable mention, the government planted guns and drugs in American hoods, in low-income urban areas. This is the one question I always say to people, like, you need to imagine, especially in these low-income areas full of like Mexicans and black people, and people also talk about like the gun and drug violence. You need to understand, where did they get the guns from? Where did they get the drugs from? There's people that worked for the government, the CIA, and there's people that have come out and had testimonies saying they've witnessed people dropping boxes of guns off. They've witnessed people like leaving guns around the area and dropping drugs off for people, which you probably listen to this thinking, that sounds crazy. Go back a few months and go look at what was happening when the protests were going. When the protests were rioting for BLM, there are videos that show you police and people in Jeeps pulling up in the area, in certain areas, and unloading crates of bricks and just leaving the bricks on the side of the street and then going. You're probably thinking, Miles, I'm not talking about bricks or drugs, I'm talking about house bricks. And again, the conspiracy theory around that is they were doing that so that when people would protest, then they would see these bricks, pick up the bricks and cause damage, which would then go against the real Black Lives Matter movement, which is just to raise awareness against police brutality and has nothing to do with black dominance and black people taking over the world and hating white people. Nothing to do with that. Don't get me wrong, if you tweet BLM and have a look through all the comments, you will find a militant person who is like, I'm anti-white, BLM means fuck white people. That's not true. You need to go and find the original people that came up with BLM and see what it matters for them. Moving on. Out of all of these ones, this is one to make sure you go and look at. Denver International Airport, the DIA, A lot of people think there's a conspiracy theory that that airport was built by the New World Order or built by Nazis. Without getting into it too much, there's a bunch of things to look for. The international airport cost millions and millions. Like, it was the most expensive airport, ridiculously expensive airport. There's a bunch of abandoned tunnels underneath the airport that was originally meant for like trains and baggage, but they don't use that anymore. They spent, I think it was like $2 million building buildings for the airport, but they stopped construction, and instead of destroying those buildings, they literally just buried those buildings intact underground and then built the airport on top of it. There's all sorts of demonic and what looks like world-ending pictures and canvases all around the airport. Denver International Airport, make sure you go and do your research and look into that one. And this one, chemtrails. I have spoken to so many people what we think about chemtrails. Is it mind control? Is it weather control? What are they doing? Chemtrail conspiracy theorists believe that chemtrails are deliberately sprayed into the air by unmarked planes. That's another one. When you're on a plane, you can't like see behind you to see if your plane's leaving chemtrails. I'm sure that they say it's like condensation. There's theories that it's when people flush the toilet, it's a buildup of all that, and then it's let out into the atmosphere, which is disgusting when you think about it. Chemtrails in Denver International, thousands of percent. Make sure you go and research that one. Ooh, fluoride in the water. Why we put fluoride in the water? They say they put fluoride. Some people are probably looking at me. This is not just exclusive to America either. This is all over. All over they put fluoride in. I'm just trying to get my notes up for it because I wrote some notes about this. But yeah, with fluoride, they were trying to say, give me a sec, I'm going to get it up for you right now. Yeah, so they believe that it's caused by pharmaceutical companies in order to keep people going to their doctors. So they say fluoride is bad for your teeth. Fluoride's in tap water. What do you use to brush your teeth? Tap water. So you're working against it, which would make sense. They also to say it's put in there to stop people having a healthy nation because a healthy nation isn't profitable. And then there's also ones that think it's in there to, it's in fluoride, it's in water to dumb people down. I don't drink out of tap water. I've got a Brita filter and I've used a Brita filter for the longest amount of time. That's purely because I just don't like the taste of tap water. But that's a lot to go by. Yes, it's true. The money is in the disease, not in the cure. They always say this. If you cured everyone of cancer now, there's no money to make from it. The pharmaceutical industry is $1 trillion industry, which is another reason why a lot of people with their COVID things have been saying, like, there's a conspiracy theory that doctors and nurses get paid more for research on COVID. So if hospitals say more people are dying from COVID, they get more money for research. I'm not getting into that. Do your own research on that one. Pearl Harbor was a good one. Pearl Harbor, conspiracy theorists believe, is it Teddy Roosevelt provoked the Japanese into attacking the American naval base, which he didn't warn the American naval base about, just so he could go to war with Japan. I think the reason behind it is he needed something that was going to keep him in power in presidency. So by starting a war with what they thought was a weak Japan, a war that they thought they would win, didn't turn out that way. They didn't win the war. If you do your research, America will never admit to losing the war, losing any wars. But go and look up the Vietnamese war. I think I'm saying it right. Vietnamese war and Pearl Harbor, 2 wars that America started and lost. Paul McCartney, I had no idea about this. People think that Paul McCartney died in a car crash in 1966 and was replaced by a lookalike and sound-alike, or a clone. Take that one as you want. You hear this all the time. There's another one about Gucci Mane. If anyone knows the rapper Gucci Mane, they tried to say that when he got arrested, because he came out skinny, well-spoken, and wasn't on violence anymore, they tried to say that the real Gucci Mane was killed or locked up somewhere secure, and that it's a clone that is now out in the street. Why they would clone Gucci Mane is... this is my issue with some conspiracy theories. The reasoning behind it just has me like, the reasoning doesn't make any sense. There you go. And the last honourable mention, which people have probably screamed at me. I don't know why this wasn't in the top 10 most popular conspiracy theories. Maybe because it's not a conspiracy theory and because it's been proven true, or aspects of it have been proven true. Forget everything I said. If you're going to research anything today, this is the one to research. MK Ultra. For anyone out there that is a Stranger Things fan, that's what Stranger Things is based on. The trials and tests that they did on people like 11 and all those people was using MK Ultra, which was a real thing. So MK Ultra is the code name that the CIA used in a series of experiments in the behavioral program that experimented in the behavioral engineering of humans between 1953 and 1973. Do your research on it. There is documentaries of people that have tried to sue the government because of their outstanding side effects from it. There's people that will tell you what they went through. There's people that have reported that tried to come out and talk about it, and then we're getting visits from the Men in Black, all sorts of craziness like that. MK Ultra, please, 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 if there is anything you do today, make sure you go and research MK Ultra. It's all about mind control, I think, but they were offering to pay some people. From what I can get, they were offering to pay certain people, and they would take them into laboratories and they were running tests on them, not telling them what the tests were about, but they were testing out MK Ultra. I don't know if they were trying to do it for mind control to then use in biological warfare against Russians or to use on their own people. But yeah, MK Ultra, make sure you go and research all the different bits of MK Ultra. But I hope you've all had fun with this conspiracy cast. Like I said, I wasn't going to delve into all of these conspiracies, mainly because to talk about one conspiracy in depth, I would have had to have done a lot of research and sit here. I'm not a conspiracy podcast. There are plenty of conspiracy podcasts out there that I suggest you go listen to because they know more about it. I'm here to give you the layman's term, the outline of it. It's like, I'm like the back of a book. So you know, like when you buy a book, I'm not the whole book to sit there and read and get all the detail. I am the blurb. I'm there to let you know the overview of it. You can then, if you like my overview, go and delve into it more. But if I've left off any conspiracy theories that you think other people should know about, make sure you drop it in the comments below. Again, what's your favorite conspiracy theory? What are some of the craziest conspiracy theories you guys have ever heard about? Don't forget to drop that in the comment. Don't forget to also like and share this video as well. But this is the end of the podcast. Mila is still asleep, luckily. I've just seen her move her head again, but I can't hear any noise coming through my phone. So I'm assuming she is still asleep. So I'm gonna call it quits here before she wakes up, and I've got to sprint back in to my house. But I wanted to leave on some positive, talk about it. She's now just started crying. Don't know if you can hear that or not. Yeah, right. She's awake. So I'm going to go. Luckily, we've made it to the end of the MylesHighClub podcast.